Good morning and welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, right here on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com, and on iHeartRadio. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, happy Saturday to you. How was your week this week?
You know what? It's amazing, Mark, how much how much better you're feeling after you're not feeling well, and then how much the weather just makes a whole different person of you. And after we dealt with what we dealt with the last 2 to 3 weeks, after this weather this week has just been unbelievable. It feels like finally baseball weather. And so now, man, this is unbelievable. We've got so much to talk about for being just a basketball kind of year right now, but baseball slowly, but even football still.
You're right, Tracy, from the change in the weather to the change of the seasons to the change to the new month. Happy March, by the way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Woo. Spring fling.
Me and two of my boys have March birthdays. My wife and my youngest son have April birthdays, but within a 30-day period, we all have birthdays, and we're usually broke by, we got T-minus like 45 days until we're just joke broke out there. So just letting you guys know, if you want to throw me a bone, let me know. But we talk about change, and that's where we're going to begin this week's show, because in Major League Baseball, MLB's done a lot of experimenting lately. Rule changes have been hitting the scene left and right. It wasn't until recently that challenges were introduced into the sport, and since then, it's kind of been a slippery slope, and public opinion hasn't been on both sides of the fence when it comes to pitch clocks and banning of the shift and ghost runners and universal DHs and limits to the amount of times that you can visit the mound. All of these things have been implemented into the game in an attempt to streamline the game, to shorten the game, keep things moving on, because watching an MLB game is quite the time investment when you really think about it. Of course, also with the commercials built in, all that jazz, you might be locked in for like a 4-hour window just to catch one game. MLB's latest venture appears to be taking more of the human element out of the game. Right now, I'm sure you've heard about this. In spring training, they're doing a test run of the ABS challenge system. That is automatic balls and strikes challenge system. It began with this year's spring training. It technically began last year in the minor leagues with select teams, but we've already gotten a first look at how this system is going to work. And how it works is each team is granted 2 challenges to use whenever they want throughout the game. If the team wins their challenge, they don't lose a challenge, means they'll still have 2 challenges to use whenever they please, but a failed challenge will result in the loss of a challenge. This is in regards to balls and strikes disagreeing with the umpire's call, which in years past, you never really ever saw an umpire overturn a ball or strike call. They're set in their ways. They're actually told, you make a call, you stick with the call, because if you change your mind, it sets a dangerous precedent for appeals and whose coach can be louder and puff their chest out more kind of thing. But these challenges have to be called immediately after a pitch, either by the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter, and what they do is they tap their head. They tap the top of the helmet. Now, I've seen this in spring training already,
yes,
Tracy,
no
and
doubt.
I'll admit, when I see this happen, I kind of get a little bit of a rush as a viewer. Seeing that head tap to signal the challenge, the replay video pops up. It says, so-and-so wants to challenge the call. Really quick, it pops up. The graphic pops up on the screen, and it shows whether either the umpire is right or wrong. We've seen a lot of things already overturned in this one. Curious your early thoughts on this system, currently just being utilized for spring training only.
Well, like you said, we've already had some of them turned over. Okay, already. Now, here's my question on that when you were saying tapping the head, right? Does he look over to the bench and get a call from the manager? Because you can't just have every batter out there tapping his head. Well, they're going to look funky out there.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So the umpire makes the call. Mm-hmm. So either the pitcher, the catcher, or the batter do the head signal, and then the umpire takes it from there.
Okay, but what I'm saying is they literally, you just said, they're trying to enhance the game, trying to speed it up, trying to make it obviously more likable. I'll be honest with you. Okay, they're trying to make it better to where it just doesn't get. That's why they have the 7th inning stretch, by the way. Okay, to wake people up, not to stretch, to wake people up.
I mean, I get it.
All right. So anyway, boom. Okay. So what I'm getting at is this, to me, seems like this is going to be more. And I'm not going to say anything because they did this same thing in football. You throw the red flag,
Yes,
blah, 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 blah.
the challenge flag.
Okay, which now takes 10 more minutes into a game. And now let's go back, and you're a numbers guy. After this year, if they do implement it, now they've been doing this in AAA for how many, 3 or 4 years now? I think it is 4 years.
Maybe actually shorter than that,
Okay,
but
okay.
it's still fairly new.
Right.
But they did have it last year.
Correct. So once they implement this, we really won't get any numbers for a while. And you're a numbers guy. I want you to go back, and next week we're going to talk about this a bit further. Go back and see how many numbers have really been turned over in foot after they challenge with the flag. I want you. There's
Seeing
a number
how
out
it
there.
elongates the game. See, Tracy.
Yeah, I want you to go back there and check that out.
First of all, I'm not going to do it because I've
know.
already done it.
that. I
I'm
knew
3
it.
steps ahead
Okay,
of you, dude.
see,
Come on.
see,
come
all
on.
right. So what did I tell you? Did I tell you he was a numbers guy?
Listen,
I'm
here's-
not. Look, why do you think we? Hello.
But it's a legitimate question. Hey, wouldn't this slow the game down?
yes, it will. I'm telling you.
The quick answer to that question is yes, it will. But through limited testing in AAA baseball a year ago, on average, it took approximately 17 seconds for each challenge to be completed. And during those challenges, the umpire's call was overturned, get this, 51% of the time. That's wild. So those iffy plays, I don't know about that one, half the time, 51% of the time, the
Right.
umpire is actually wrong.
So how many is he really wrong at?
Exactly. So even if the teams were able to use all 4 challenges throughout the contest, you get them, use them,
Right.
that would realistically add only a little over 2 minutes to each game. And we've seen, how many umpire calls have we talked about on this show, or how many umpire calls can you think of? I remember a perfect game being wiped off the board. I know it's not a balls and strikes thing, but how many calls have been wrong that have affected the outcome of a ball game? This system looks like it could go the first step in a long way into fixing that. Does it take the human element out? Does it take the umpire out of the game? Yes and no. I believe it makes the umpire more accountable for the game. It encourages the umpires, hey, you better get this right, because now not only does the whole stadium see that you're wrong, but it continues to put targets on you. And it's, the best umpires are the ones that are going to get the best opportunities. You think they're going to put somebody with a 50% call rate in the World Series calling the biggest show? Absolutely not. So I think this introduces accountability for the umpires and allows them to, they better be on top of their A game or they might not have a job.
I forget the ump. You may know him. Joe, remember he had death threats after the World Series where he missed them. And his comment afterward was, well, I see some and I don't see some, but I call them all. What? And he had, I think it was with Boston when they came back and finally won. But he had death threats after this. Now, if that doesn't encourage you, I don't know what does. But the bottom line, and what I agree with you on it in some way, these guys have they're playing, and I don't want to go with but they're like, I am the one. They don't have to answer to anyone. They're the sheriff in town.
Now they do.
And now they do, Mark. And I think you're right. I don't think this is a Big Brother kind of deal. I really don't. If they use it in the right direction, and like you said, the time frame, 17 seconds, I'll go with that. And as long as Budweiser's not chiming in or whatever else, Chevrolet, and, we'll be right back after this, because they're going to. They're going to make money off this. They're going to market it 101.
Of course
this is
they
the
will.
challenge. We'll be right back after this. That when they go to the headset in football, they do it.
I'd be curious if they could probably fit in a 15-second commercial, or they'll make a 7-second.
They'll do something.
They'll do something. Here, in my opinion, anything that adds excitement to MLB is a good thing. And I think this is going to add excitement to it. Listen, everybody knows the best way to experience a baseball game is in person, but not everybody has that opportunity. Case in point, I'm a White Sox fan. Yes, I'm still a White Sox fan, but I'm in Arkansas. I can't just go up to the Windy City 14 hours away anytime that I want, so I rely on catching those games on TV, even though I know going in that I'm going to be heartbroken. And yes, spring training is here, and yes, the White Sox are still terrible. Okay, so we talked about the umpires. They're ones that may lose a little bit from this decision,
right?
But somebody else that might not benefit super greatly from this, Tracy, is MLB catchers, because you got to think about a catcher's job sometimes down there is a little bit of mind games. And even though you're directly in front of the umpire, you're also technically trying to manipulate the umpire. I'm talking about framing pitches.
No doubt.
How many times have a pitch been outside the zone, but man, you get that glove there and you right placement and quickly over the zone or whatever, and you might get a call in your favor. That's going to go down considerably here, I think. Some stats to throw your way. Last season, San Francisco Giants Patrick Bailey led all catchers in framing runs with 16. Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners, former Arkansas Traveler, by the way, was in second place there. So on the West Coast, they've got some catchers that are really trying to do this thing, and these are teams that are kind of on the outside looking in for playoff positioning. So it's going to take away that human element of the game as well, which you could really just label as trickery at its baseline, to be honest. But it's going to add more accountability to the game. I think more accuracy to the game, and I think more excitement to the game as well.
Well, for one thing, I didn't even, of all things, I know you're the stat guy. I didn't even know they had a stat for that. They got a stat for everything. I realize that. But that's amazing they have that stat and that you knew it. But that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making now.
I'm fun at parties when I get invited.
I just can't wait.
Nobody invites me.
You're the guy over in the corner that's going, everybody's going, really? Really? But
you guys know about Pac-Man? Know how Pac-Man got his name?
But I'm going to tell you
Scott
this.
Pilgrim reference.
One of your favorites. I'm sure the Astros will not have to bother with it anymore. So
stop it.
Let's go
Stop
to
it.
second quarter.
Well, hang on a second. One more thing I want to add on this topic. Okay, so if this system continues through spring training, which it will, but if this system starts gaining traction, what is the earliest that we might be able to see it? 2025 season, this upcoming season? No, absolutely not.
No.
But if it is appreciated by the players and it goes smoothly, we could see this creep into regular season play as soon as early 2026. I think it's great for the game. I would like to know your input as well. You can text the show 501-915-1300. Have you seen the ABS system for MLB? What are your thoughts? Good for the game, bad for the game? Let us know.
I'm going to make one more. If they do this, then they're going to have to go to the laser line for the first down marker in football. I'm just telling you right now. No more chains. I'm done with the chains. I'm done with the guy pulling the card out of his pocket.
Hey, let's do it.
Why are they not using the laser line?
Hey, this is 2025. Let's do it.
They've been using it in construction for 100 years, and you're telling me they can't put a laser over there like they have already been doing in high schools in Texas, and using a laser, if the dot hits the football, it's a first down. If it doesn't, guess what? It's fourth and inches. And football is a game of
inches.
Thank you. Second quarter coming up right here on the morning show at 92.9. Stay tuned.
And we're back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition on 92.9 KVRE, online at kvre.com. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, talking about change, kind of our topic for the show this week. Let's talk about another potential change coming to another major sport. So the 2025 NFL Scouting Combine is underway this weekend. And while it's a chance to look at the next generation of bright stars in the game, it's also an opportunity to discuss potential changes to the game. One such change, well, Tracy, whenever you're the top dog and you're on top of the mountain and you're all high and mighty, everybody's looking up at you and you're looking down at everybody else. Sometimes heavy is the head that wears the crown, right? So Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, right? And now all of a sudden, here come a lot of the boo birds out there, like you like to call them, talking about, you know what? We don't like the tush push anymore. On Tuesday, the Green Bay Packers confirmed that they made a proposal to ban the tush push from the NFL. Now, if you are not as invested in the NFL as some of the other listeners, or you're not aware what the tush push is, if you've ever watched a Philadelphia Eagles game in the last few years or so, you'll know the quarterback is pushed forward through the defensive line by the players behind him. The running back and the tight end are lined up behind the quarterback, and they just push him forward. It's used in short yardage and goal line situations and actually has a very high success rate. So you line up in that I line, you know exactly what's going to come. Philadelphia uses it very, very well, but they're not the only team that does so. Buffalo is another one as well. We've even seen it with Kansas City in spurts as well. Outgoing Packers president Mark Murphy also posted earlier this month that the play was, quote, bad for the game. Mind you, both of these comments coming from the Green Bay Packers, which were unable to really do anything to defend the tush push in the NFC against the Philadelphia Eagles this season. Before I go on, is this sore loser syndrome, or is there potentially a point about removing this play from the game?
Mark, this is nothing new. I'm not going to say losers, but you can see what's on my forehead.
Looks like an L to me.
Okay, thank you. But as it is, the ones that can't really perform this particular kind of art play, they're the ones that are trying to, but this is nothing new to the NFL. Let's go back a little bit when there happens to be a team in St. Louis, the greatest show on turf, okay? They said something about the gloves they were wearing, okay? All the guys, and they wanted to ban those certain kind of gloves because back in the day when we were playing 100 years ago, the Stickum stuff, they banned the Stickum stuff.
Sure.
Okay. Then they tried to get rid of those kind of particular gloves that they were wearing, when the Rams won it. All right. Then they went to trying to change the way that deflate, inflate balls after winning 4 in a row.
What a mess that was.
Okay. All right. Nothing happened from either one of those. Nothing. All it was sore losers trying to come up with something. Now then, you've got this stat, I know, but let's look at the practicality of it. It's not just because, and I'll be honest with you, we're trying to make the game safer, okay? And that's what they're looking at. And not so much that they're losers, but you got some linemen now that have come up with bad backs and such like that. And it is, I've been on the bottom of a pile before when I could not breathe. And I'm telling you, it's no fun. I'm sitting there literally trying to push people off of me. And that's basically what this is. You want a dog pile? This is more than a dog pile. And it does get dangerous down there. And I'm sure that some of, especially the centers, the tackles, the nose guards, I bet, in close cadence like that, I bet there are some necks that are pushed a little in the wrong direction, or some backs that are strained in a bad way. But I think that the health issue overall, has anybody really went to the hospital? Have you seen I don't know.
I don't actually have numbers on that statistic, but when you look at the tush push, when you think about what kind of play this is and what it achieves, how is it much different than a quarterback sneak?
Well, they've been doing this since the game began. There was no throwing the ball back in the day when the Cleveland Browns played back in the 30s and 40s and everybody else. You think there wasn't no passing. They didn't pass hardly at all. You know what they did? They lined up. It was almost like the electric football game where you push everybody and you just get after it. And that's what they did back in those days. They had actually several kinds of tush pushes, and then they got creative with it, which you've seen now.
Yes.
That they actually snap the ball to the outback through the legs, and it goes and he runs for the flag. It doesn't necessarily have to go through the.
That's right.
So I don't know. I think they can get more creative at it. If they want to complain about it, fine. But to outlaw it, no. Come on, really?
So I've got to tell you that the play has been examined by the NFL and the competition committee in previous off seasons, and no action had ever been taken. However, it does appear that there is traction from other opposing coaches this year on trying to make the push for it. Now, NFL owners could vote on the proposal next month at the annual league meeting in Palm Beach, unless the team decides to withdraw the proposal, the team being Green Bay. If the proposal goes to a vote, it would require 24 of the 32 NFL owners in order for it to pass. Atlanta Falcons coach Raheem Morris indicated that he would vote to ban the play. Buffalo Bills coach Sean McDermott, he's a member of the competition committee, and the Bills also use the tush push rather frequently. McDermott came out this week and said, quote, "There's always been an injury risk with the play, and it is potentially contrary to the health and safety of the players." That's an eye-opening comment coming from a coach that actively uses the play. Another coach that actively uses the play has a Super Bowl ring. His name is Nick Sirianni of the Philadelphia Eagles, and he says that all these guys are wrong. He says it's, quote, a little unfair that other coaches are angling to have the play banned because it's highly successful for Philadelphia. Of course, it's also nicknamed the brotherly shove for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he thinks that it's a little bit insulting. Sirianni said that they practice the play all the time. It's not a play that you can just pull off and do. It requires a lot of analytics that go into it and a lot of technique that allows it to be as explosive as it can be. He says, hey, our guys work really hard to do this. We're really talented. Taking it away from us just because you can't do it is not okay.
Well, and one of the first guys that ever was a part of it, Kelsey, I know he's retired now, but I saw the post interview with him on one of these other shows besides his podcast, and he was talking about, same thing that I was talking about earlier. He's been on the bottom of one of those dog piles and actually had commented on how he had lost practically consciousness, and then when they all got off of him, he came back, but he's never been really injured. He said, but the potential's there, but then in the same breath, he also said the potential to get hurt is on every play.
That's true.
Is on every play. That's why they're doing the kickoffs now instead of a guy running down 70 yards and hitting somebody like a ram.
Yep.
Now but then there's people got hurt on that, this year also on that kickoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. So it can happen at any play. It's a physical game. And I know they're trying to take the most out of it. Right now, you can't even touch the quarterback, okay? It's just that simple. And I can agree to that I think there's more false calls on that this last year. I think they need to look into that a little bit more because now, and they could probably call it the Mahomes clause. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. But, why don't they leave this? The coaches are looking at it. The owners are looking at it. The guys on the whatever are looking at, why don't you let the vote go to the players? Why would that not be?
I know. I wonder if the NFL player union would have a say in it as well. So how good is the tush push? This is how good as it is. The Eagles and the Bills have scored a touchdown or achieved a first down on 87% of the attempts using the play, while the rest of the NFL has been successful 71% of the time. So needless to say, if you do it, you usually are going to have results here. Since 2022, in just 2 seasons, the Eagles have ran this play 108 times. It's nearly twice as many as the Bills, who've ran it 55 times. The third place team, the Chicago Bears, in the past 2 seasons have ran this play a whopping 16 times. Mainly the Eagles, kind of the Bills. The Bears are the third most. Here's my question. The math is there. If it's successful outside of the Eagles and the Bills, if it's successful still 71% of the time, why are more teams not doing this? Other teams have strong lines, strong running backs. Why are other teams not doing this?
Yeah,
it's working.
You know what? I don't think the other teams get to that situation, a lot of them, but that's a whole other story. But I mean, the Buffalo bobsled, the brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it, just like you said, Mark, it's working. And if they don't vote it down,
if you want to ban it because you can't do it, just come out and say it.
Yeah, wham. You know what? The bottom line is, I like what you said a while ago. Let the players' union decide. They're the ones out on the field.
I mean, they should have a vote in anything that touches the game to begin with.
That'd be too easy, Mark. That'd be too easy. You think that they're going to let them get a hold of a little bit of it? And now I know they've been able to, well, we'll just take, for instance, they don't show up at practice sometimes and the whole season's gone. I've seen that before too. But, let's not give them too much room. My goodness, all that revenue, my goodness. But you got an absolute point right there, Mark. I mean, is it due to the safety or is it due to because somebody's not getting their way? That's another thing. Hit us on the text line with that one.
Yeah, you better text us because we want to hear from you on this one as well. Yeah. The tush push. Is it good for the game? Is it bad for the game? Should this play go away? Please text us 501-915-1300. We would love to hear from you. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of college basketball. March Madness is right around the corner. Do the Arkansas Razorbacks have a chance to make the big dance? We'll discuss it when we return on 92.9 KVRE.
Third quarter coming up.
Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues on 92.9 KVRE. He's Tracy Simpson. I'm Mark Oliver. Tracy, it's March, which means right around the corner, it'll be time for college basketball. March Madness is on the horizon, and Arkansas is still clinging to hope, a chance, maybe even a small chance, that they might make the big dance. Tracy, there may just be a chance. Arkansas has been flirting with some massive wins in recent games and finally got over the hump, had its backs against the wall against the red-hot Missouri team last week, defeating the Tigers 92-85. Here's the deal. Arkansas's run the gamut, and they've been through the gauntlet down the stretch here. 3 top 10 teams, Alabama, Texas A&M, and Auburn, had all 3 on the ropes before falling short in the past couple of weeks. Arkansas also appeared to be trending in that direction against Missouri before a 51-point second half to flip that 8-point halftime deficit into a much-needed home win for Arkansas. 5 guys scored in double figures. All 8 scored at least 1 basket and grabbed a rebound. It was a balanced performance, a big team performance, and it was kind of reminiscent of those big wins that we saw earlier this year against Kentucky in Texas. John Calipari says, simply put, this team refuses to lose right now. That's the motto, refuse to lose. So as we look at the remainder of the schedule here, Tracy, you've got South Carolina today at 12 o'clock. Tuesday, you're at Vanderbilt, 9 p.m. tip-off. 9 p.m. tip-off.
Yeah.
Next Saturday, the home finale, Mississippi State, that begins at 11 a.m. The Razorbacks, the Heart Attack Hogs, if you want to call them that, do they have what it takes to get across the finish line, out of the bubble, and into the big dance?
Even with these 2 wins, I think they're going to have to really show promise in the tournament, which why they do the tournament to begin with, I have no clue. Really.
Right.
I don't. This all goes back to the football thing. We did the same thing last year. I feel like I'm deja vu again. All right. But as it is right now, they're going to look at what they do in the tournament. But we keep bringing this up time and time again, Mark. SEC just keeps beating Georgia, Florida, prime example this week.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. And Georgia was on a skid. You went in, but you know one thing I love about this? These kind of games like that one drives Vegas crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Just absolutely bonkers.
It's a coin flip.
So, so I was like, and I quit watching it. I did. I just literally quit watching it. And then I got up this one and looked at my headlines. I was like, what? Georgia came back. I was like, okay. So on any given day, and we've heard this statement 1,000 years, anybody can come back. Anybody can win. So if Razorbacks do well in the tournament, then they've got an outside bubble. Now, an interesting fact here, and I know you'll look back this up, the largest seed that the Razorbacks has ever been at, this could be one. This could be one right here.
You think so?
This could be the one because as it is, they've shown promise, just like you said. They had them up against the ropes. They did. And this is a team that has defied all laws of gravity. I'll be honest with you. They brought some guys out. They're finally get the bigs working. If Big Z would just stay down low instead of shooting threes, we'll do a lot better. But they finally found a guy that can handle the ball and that kind of deal, and a coach that knows how to coach a blue-collar team. Now, there's a big difference in what you've seen Duke and a lot of those North Carolina teams and a lot of the Kentucky teams when we're talking blue chips, okay? Mm-hmm. These are blue-collar. These guys work at it every game, and sometimes they're behind, sometimes they're in the lead, and they hang on, but they're blue-collar players. They are working every game, and if they show enough in the tournament, I think they'll get in, but it's going to be one of the highest seeds that you've ever seen the Razorbacks. And they may not win the first game, but I think they'll make it to the dance. They're not blue chippers, they're blue collars.
As a glass half empty kind of guy, I look at this remaining schedule and I think, you know what? Arkansas absolutely has what it takes to blow this. Because you don't want to have the kind of pressure on your back there. There's a lot of pressure riding on this when you're on the outside looking in, and there is a very talented pool that's going to make its way into the big dance, into the big 64-team bracket this year. But when you're on the outside looking in, there's that extra pressure, but there also may be that extra chip on your shoulder. Like you said, here are 2 things, in my opinion, that I think will work in Arkansas's favor. First things first, they've got to get it done. They've got to get these major wins down the stretch. There's not necessarily a major roadblock in their way to the finish line in conference play. That's the good news. Fortunately for the Razorbacks, the SEC, like you said, is experiencing the most dominant year in college basketball history. The top dogs are all SEC. And I saw a stat this week. I think it's like 5 of the top 10 teams in the preseason poll are not even ranked right now, including UConn, by the way. That three-peat, I don't think it's going to happen. There's a lot of room to prove yourself to the selection committee. And normally, I would really, really hate saying this, but if you're an Arkansas fan, you're going to want to hear this. The selection committee is going to look at who your head coach is, Coach Cal, and what he's done for the team. Has they had their bumps in the road? Yes. Has it been ugly at times? You got it. But they know who is at the helm of this program, his track record, what he's capable of doing. That is only going to help their odds whenever they're analyzing bubble teams to get them in. Mention the strength of the SEC. Arkansas does need to win some games in the SEC tournament. Will they win the whole tournament? I mean, it'd be great if they did, but I think realistically, I don't know that you can give them that nod there. However, I don't necessarily know that they have to win the tournament in order to get a selection in as well. When you look at what Arkansas has done this season, they have 4 major wins in what they call the quad 1 of the net rankings. This is against the top tier teams in the country. They've got 4 of those. And against projected tournament teams that are already going to be in, there's no way they won't make it. Arkansas technically has 6 wins against those teams already in the dance. If you include, remember that preseason win over Kansas to start the year. What didn't technically start the year, but it really showed what this team could do. They've got a couple of wins over net top 15 teams. And, they're certainly a team that I think has the magic, has the razzle-dazzle in order to get it in. They've got a great coach, and they've got a very favorable schedule sliding in at the finish.
Mark, you watch a lot of sports, you call a lot of sports, and this is one during the latter part of the year, you know as well as I do, it's almost similar to baseball. When you're hot, you're hot.
Yes.
An old Jerry Reed song, from years going by. And a lot of the teams that are hot get in this latter part of it. But I'm going to tell you a little difference that I see in this Razorback team that I've been watching some of these other teams. Let's say Duke or Houston in particular. I was watching Houston the other night, just dismantle Tech, which I thought was a pretty good team. They've got men down low. And I'm talking some guys that look like they're playing middle linebacker for the Bears or for the Eagles. They're down there just pushing people out. And that's one thing I just don't see the Razorbacks having. I don't see that dominating force like they used to have with the Big O's, and their championship team and a few of those down the lane. They just don't have those guys that are men down low. And that's what I saw. It was almost just a brawl at some point. It looked almost like the NBA playing the other day when I watched that Houston team. And even with Duke, as much finesse as they are, and you're talking the blue chippers, that they really go through basketball, they call their everything they do. Here comes this play. Everything's set for them. But when they get down low, those guys, they manhandle people. I'll be honest with you. Duke looks, and I'm not taking them away from Auburn. Auburn's got 2 guys down low. They're bigs. That did the same thing to Arkansas. When it really counted out, and you said it a while ago, they had them on the ropes. But when it came down to the last little bit, they out-rebounded us unbelievably because they were pushing people out of the way. They went. Now, that's one thing that our offensive board, that's where we're down on. And we're just not getting the boards. And when you don't get the boards, you don't get those second shots.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not that good of a high percentage first shot team. It's just that simple. We're not. We've got lucky drawing a lot of fouls, but not there from shooting fouls, not from being down underneath the boards. And that, my friend, I'm going to tell you right now, is a thing that worries me. I'll be honest with you. We're not pushing people around down low. That's when Coach told Big Z the other day, what are you doing shooting threes? I know you can do it, but you're 7'2".
Exactly.
Get underneath. And that's how we won Missouri the other night, was he was down low getting fouls and going to the free throw.
Mm-hmm.
Not three-pointers. And so we've got to get down underneath and get second shots on offense. If we don't there, even if we make the big dance, we're done.
I mean, you're right. You got to know your role, and you have to execute flawlessly there. And of course, where the Razorbacks go once they make the big dance, I think it'll be a huge testament to the program here in year one in Coach Cal's regime to make the dance and to go from there. I think it'll be huge, helping build for recruiting. We talked about it in our previous show about NIL. Arkansas is not the biggest NIL school in the SEC, and they probably never will be. But they've got guys that want to come into this program. They want to do things the right way. And I don't want to say that players that grab lots of NIL money because they've earned it and they deserve it don't have integrity. But I think there's also a degree of integrity as well that comes in from, I want to help represent. Maybe you're an in-state player, or maybe you just want to help grow a program there, and it's a good fit. It's because it's about a good fit for growing you, especially on the college level, because it's about what can I do for my education,
Right.
what can I do for my basketball career, and hats off to the kids that understand that as well as an important aspect of it. But March 16th will be whenever we find out what the bracket looks like. Still about 2 weeks to go. Arkansas still has a lot of work to do, but the destiny for the Razorbacks is in their own hands here. I'm excited to see how things turn out.
Well, I am too. And to be honest with you, win, lose, or draw, I think he's done a great job. I'm going to give you my thumbs up for Coach Cal. But to be honest with you, everything he's gone through, the injuries, losing key players, and that right there alone. And here's another thing. I'll just slow this in real quick because I know we got to get to the fourth quarter. But he doesn't have a deep bench, and that's another thing.
Yeah,
they're playing a lot of minutes, and then when you go into those tournaments, you've got to have some guys coming off the bench, and you've seen that time
playing back to backs and things like that. It's easy to get burned out.
You've seen that, man, and so that's the only thing that really gets to me right there. But good. Hey, thumbs up, Coach Cal.
All right, when we come back, it'll be our local roundup. Quarter number 4, Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition continues in a moment on 92.9 KVRE.
Fourth quarter coming up.
For the fourth quarter of this week's show, we have our local roundup here on Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. Tracy, I know that you were really excited about this one. Better late than never, right? Winter weather held the Rebel Stakes hostage for a day or so, but this was quite the race at Oaklawn Park, don't you think?
Oh, my goodness gracious. And you know what? One for the little guy. I'll be honest with you, Mark. We're always talking about, and you and I have been a part of the underdog team for how many years now, and this is one that just unbelievable. Lonnie Briley, working at a place for years and years and years for the John Frank stable at a farm, basically, and not given his day, finally gets out from beneath the shadow of the John Frank's organization, becomes a trainer, and this is once in a lifetime when you train for years and years and years and you finally get out on your own, and then finally he gets that one, and this could be the one, Mark. I'll be honest with you.
Yes.
And this horse proved, they ran back at the Smarty Jones, but he comes back and runs, and we're talking about the best 3-year-olds in not only the United States, but in the world, some of the best ones.
Oh, sure.
And we're talking about running against the Bafferts of the world, the McPeaks of the world. And he comes up with Cole Battle and runs the biggest race, almost ties the track record, and just looks around and the jockey just looks at him and says, "I'm gone. Bye-bye." And just phenomenal. This was one for the underdog. And, and you talk to him, he's just as common as the day is long, the salt of the earth. Oh, praised everybody but himself in the post-interview. Jockey, owners, all of his help, his wife, they never said his name once. That's when you got a winner right there, Mark. And I want to congratulate him and the team of just a winning situation. It may not happen again. And now you were talking earlier, he may doubt about even running him in the Arkansas Derby.
Yeah, the Arkansas Derby coming up. It may be too soon to run him again after quite the performance. But what a performance that Cole Battle had. After half a mile into this race,
unbelievable.
He was 8 lengths behind. On the card that day, no winner had closed from more than 2 lengths behind. When you talk about come from behind and a real underdog story, I mean, how as a jockey, as a how do you come back from that far behind?
Well, one thing, a phenomenal ride. There's no doubt he was patient, and there was a little luck also. Don't get me wrong; he was boxed in at the turn, but then he made it up, ran one of the fastest quarters in track history at Oaklawn. And you're talking about a horse that had already set a couple of track records out in California. Mm-hmm. And they do this all the time at Oaklawn, Mark. They roll the track, what's called roll it, to get it fast for these horses coming in from California and Florida because they run on more of a sandy track. Whereas Oaklawn is what they call a cuppy track, which is deep, okay? We run on the dirt that they get out of where? The Ouachita River bottoms. Mm-hmm. And they mix a little bit of sand in it. Well, in any given day can happen, and it happened for him on Sunday, which had been delayed because of the weather.
That's
it was
right.
supposed to run on Saturday. But
if it had raced on Saturday, you never know.
Never know.
It was
Never
fate.
know.
Had to be fate.
It
had
was
to be fate.
unbelievable.
$1.25 million Rebel Stakes. Congratulations to Cole Battle. As we look at some other big local milestones this week, we'd like to congratulate National Park College Nighthawk baseball pitcher Joey Stager. He threw the program's first ever no-hitter in a 12-1 victory over Dallas-Fort Worth back on Saturday the 22nd. 12-1 win for the Nighthawks. Stager didn't necessarily know what he was getting into. Had a chance to interview him later this week, and he said, you know what, by the time I hit about the 7th inning or so, I said, you know what, I know that I haven't allowed a hit yet. I knew that this was going to happen. He said he felt locked in the entire time. There have been a lot of really good pitchers that have walked in the doors at NPC, but none had ever reached that milestone. Joey Stager is just a freshman for National Park College this year, and coming in and doing something phenomenal. The young man hails from Tucson, Arizona, decided to make Hot Springs, Arkansas his baseball home. Now he's etched into Nighthawk lore forever.
You know what? And that right there, Mark, just like we were talking about a while ago, it may never happen again, but that is something that we talk about time and time again. This is something he's going to be talking about. His family's going to be talking about every Thanksgiving, every spring practice. You know, every time you talk about pitching, that's going to be brought up. And that right there could obviously turn the tide. And this works for you down the road in business, in future, in life. I mean, at that one point, in that one given moment, I was on top of the world. You know, a big congratulations. One of a kind. Very
humble young man as well. I don't even know that the achievements really set in for himself. He was interviewed by the Sentinel Record earlier this week, and he was still just trying to digest all of it. And of course, Joey is a major help for me. Most people don't know this, but behind the scenes on our Nighthawk Network broadcast, whether it's basketball games in the Kettle or even in our baseball doubleheader that we had on Tuesday at the ballpark, Joey actually helps me out on camera quite a bit on the broadcast side. And he's a very, very good cameraman as well. Probably one of the best ones that I have out of the student athletes at NPC. So he does a lot for Nighthawk Athletics when it's not just him on the mound pitching. So, for him to have that honor, I thought was really, really special for him.
No doubt, Mark. And once again, humble. Golly, think about that. And what a guy, But once again, I don't think you're right. It doesn't set in. You know how hard that is?
It's extremely hard.
But the odds, and you're a numbers guy, the odds of that and going through the batters and everything like that, it's unbelievable when you think of the feat, even in AAA, even in Major League. It's quite a feat, I'll be honest with you.
Here's another feat for you. Let's take things over to the high school basketball level. We're over at Hot Springs World Class High School. We have a new single-game scoring record. Jayshawn Hayes put up a historic 50-point performance on Monday as the Trojans defeated Texarkana 76-50. 50 points. 50 of the 76 points. He reached that 50-point milestone when there was still a few minutes left in the third quarter. Hot Springs pumped the brakes. It could have been much, much more than that. And let me tell you how significant this is. So 50 points on the high school level is incredible. I'll tell you that the singles game scoring record for Nighthawk men's basketball on the college level is also 50 points. It's a really big deal. Congratulations to Hayes. Congratulations to the Trojans. You know, it looks like here in Garland County, we've said it a lot this basketball season. We're going to continue to say it. Postseason basketball is continuing to develop among us. I know we didn't touch on it too much in this week's show because we kind of record while some games are still going on before they're done. But I'm going to tell you this much: with the upcoming state tournaments, Garland County, Hot Springs, Saline County, the KVRE listening area is going to be well represented in these upcoming state tournaments on both the boys' side and the girls' side.
Oh, no doubt. We said this during football. We're going to say it again in basketball. One of the teams from this area, one of them will win state.
I believe that.
And I'm just going out on a limb a little bit, but I'm just telling you, one of them, we've got that much talent in this area. One of them's going to win state, Mark.
We have so many strong teams, whether it's Poen on the boys and girls side. We interviewed Jessieville boys coach Jared White last week on the show. The Lions off to a great run. Cutter Morning Star, both the boys and the girls. How about Mountain Pine? The Lady Red Devils finally got past Cutter Morning Star in girls action in the district tournament, went all the way to the district finals, lost to Dirks in a heartbreaker by 2, but they move on to the regional tournament.
Yeah, Dirk's pretty good, though. Think about that.
Dirks is really, really good. So, you know, all these teams, Lake Hamilton also doing very, very well. Hot Springs putting up historic numbers. Everywhere you look, high school basketball is alive and well here in our listening area, and we're very, very excited to see what they do next.
Yeah, Ben coming. Hey, one of them, I'm just telling you, something around here. I got that feeling, Mark. I don't know what it is. I got that feeling, but we got a lot of action still to go, and a lot of it we'll be talking about next Saturday, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
No doubt.
Absolutely. That's our show this week. Of course, we talked about a lot of great things. We'd love to have your input as well on the ABS challenge system for MLB, or maybe the potential banning of the tush push in the NFL. You can text the show at any time, 501-915-1300. If there's a story that you would like Tracy and I to talk about, yeah, bring that to our attention as well. We'd love to put your team or sports organization in the spotlight. We're here.
Hey, Mark, you know what? We're coming up on 1 year.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Our 1 year anniversary also occurs in March. Should we do something special? Should we get a cake or
I got something.
Are we
for
going
you.
to do something? I don't know.
I got something for you. It's
Is it
going to
just
be a
business
surprise.
as usual?
I got something for you. It's going to be a surprise. I got something for our listeners.
I'm excited.
We're
excited. We're here every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on 92.9 KVRE. For Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Have a great week.
Game over.